I know you haven't had much sleep tonight, so I'll try to, like trigger you a little bit to keep it spicy. Also, as Max said, I really want to do this interactive. I love the Rise Up story, so I really want to know more about that. We heard the intro, but I really want to zoom into this a little bit more. And then I actually want to open it up to the audience as well, because I'd love for you guys to engage with us. I'd love to hear a little bit more about questions that you might have to the speakers, to us. So be prepared for a bit of a Q&A to open this up a bit. But as said, I'd love to start, Abdelhameed, with you and the Rise Up story. So tell me, you did the intro beginning of the day, but tell me a little bit more as to why did you start Rise Up, and and tell us a bit more how that started and why you did it.
I'm gonna be very interactive with this. So I'd rather actually ask anyone. Has anyone attended Rise Up here? Raise their hands. Okay. I want to hear it first from them, right? How Rise Up started and stuff like that. So I'll walk around. Who wants to get the mic to tell us how Rise Up started, or anything that they had with Rise Up or memories? Mariam Aziz is eating. Okay.
Hi, I'm Mariam from Injaz. For me, Rise Up started when Abdelhameed, who I generally call Aboud and confuse everyone, just walked into the office a couple of months after leaving us at Injaz and said, "Hey, I need your help. I'm planning the biggest entrepreneurship summit in the Middle East." And I just stared at him for maybe a minute, and I said, "Okay, tell me what we need to do." So it was just, I think, as Gehed, right there, Rise Up co-founder, put it really well. It was that spark, and I think that spark is contagious. So I think we do have a lot of the enthusiasm, maybe not the same as Silicon Valley's, and I think we're very different. It's a very different context, but I think that contagious spark has piled on, and that's what brought the ecosystem together.
Super cool. Actually, Mariam was like freshly joining Injaz, and it was her first month, and we just found her here. I was sleeping here in the campus, and then the second day I found her here at 6 a.m. and she did this 6 a.m. discipline that was very rare at that time. So everyone started coming 6 a.m. to help with the summit. Okay. Anyone else? Ayman Saeed. Okay. Yeah.
I just came to the room, so I didn't hear the question.
So we were talking about how Rise Up started. How did you're all part of Rise Up. Actually, you are
Yes.
Rise Up, okay? So how did it start?
So I think it was like in July 2013 when we got introduced to the idea. We were just volunteers with some NGOs supporting entrepreneurship. And Abdelhameed came with this idea, like, I need to do something gathering the whole ecosystem in one place for some days. So everyone get introduced to investors, accelerators, and get more familiar with the ecosystem. In Rise Up 2013, I think the number of attendees was huge. Everyone was there, the spirit was great. And I think that was the main value proposition, was the spirit and the timing as well, and the place, because it's very smart to do an event in the downtown, very, very close to Tahrir Square, and during the Talat Har's birthday, etc. So thank you for this, and it was a great thing for Egypt. Yeah.
Thank you, Ayman. Actually, Ayman was one of our first speakers, so yeah, he's very dear to our heart. Okay, anyone else wants to talk about their experience with Rise Up? Unless I choose. Yeah?
Show of hands.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
I attended last year, and I just want to say I think it's a great idea, because I'm like I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years, and just to see the change in what's been happening. I mean, at the time I started up, there is no such, the concept of support or help, or you're not alone, and somebody you could even exchange ideas or share experiences with was not available, and there was no access to information about, if you want to, or mentorship. That the whole concept, all these terms didn't exist. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I did attend it, the most recent one. I just think it's great that that's happening, and that people are coming together and sharing and giving as well, giving back, especially the more seasoned entrepreneurs. So to me, it's really it's an awesome thing to be happening.
Thank you very much.
So
thank you.
maybe on a personal level, actually, you guys, I mean, like say the founders, tell me a bit more like personal drive, because I think you have a really interesting mix also in terms of founders. So tell me a bit more about you guys.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the founders. I mean, we always say like Rise Up is co-founded by the whole ecosystem. Every single player in the ecosystem has a role, has ownership in this. We never felt that this is our thing. We never felt that we're the champions or ecosystem builders at all. We just collaborate and interact with others. So, but it needs a team, right? It needs a core team that runs operations. So I'll start with Gehed, okay? Can you raise up your hands and give her an applaud on my behalf? So, I met Gehed. She was a journalist with Egypt Business Directory. And she was the very first person ever to write about Rise Up and realize that there's potential about it. And she wrote an article that kind of went viral in the ecosystem. It was called The Silent Spark Behind Rise Up Egypt, and Spark is the English name of my name, okay? The English translation was Sharara. So she's very persistent. She's half German, half Egyptian, which tells a lot about the creative side and the doing side. She brings discipline, she brings content, lots of fun, and she brings her mother too. They come and help all the time, and the office is always tidy and cool and nice because of them. So first of all, Gehed Hussein, and there's Triple M here, Mansour. He's out? Okay. There's a guy there, the beardsome guy with two ladies outside. So this guy is really one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life. He's always dedicating. We had some times when there was no cash in. He put some cash from his pocket, though he was an employee, right? I met him first at Mercy Corps, the amazing team that was a catalyst for the ecosystem, that part. We've pitched Rise Up a lot of times to a lot of influencers and people that didn't believe at the beginning, but it was until this team, Triple M and Khan, who's I'm going to talk about right now, they were the first believers. He was in front of me in one of the meetings where the past government was there, and they were talking about the entrepreneurship ecosystem, and all the ecosystem was there, and he just went back and gave me his business card, said like, we want to meet, and then I met him, and through him I met Con O'Donnell. And is Con here? Con, okay. Con is not here? Okay. So yeah, it's even much better if I talk about him when he's not here. This guy is more Egyptian than I am, okay, than anyone I've ever seen. He's done so much to this country. He's done so much to startups here. Ask all the high impact startups, or most of them that you've seen. He's either touched them, invested them, mentored, or gave. He's very dedicated. He sends emails till 12 a.m. He's very open. He's always at the back. So at the beginning of the day, it should have been Stephen Khan opening the scene, and said like, Khan came and said like, no, I'm a Khawaga. I'm not an Egyptian. It should be an Egyptian coming here on stage and saying that this thing is happening, right? So this is why he pushed me to come and have the pleasure of talking with Steve about it. This guy is the true example of an angel and mentor, and I'm really blessed to have someone like him. I totally believe in mentorship. I'm 27 years old, okay? So I have a lot of stuff to learn. I've done terrible mistakes all of my life, and just because of mentors like Khan, like Steve, like Heba, like Dina, and all of the leaders that we talked about at the beginning, like Alfie and all of these people, they're the ones who come to you and say like, you're bullshitting. This is crap. And this is the best advice to ever take.
So what do you think, or what would you say is special about Egypt in terms of startups, right? So what makes Egyptian startups different from what you see out there in the global landscape?
A lot of stuff. One of them is definitely the circumstances that we live in, right? It's a very tough nature or tough environment, politically, economically, all this stuff. But one thing I really find in them is optimism. It's creative optimism. They always come up with solutions and ideas, and they're always persistent, and they're always looking at the big picture. They're always continuing no matter what happens. We had months of our lifetime, where 3 months, like stuff like that, no business at all. Imagine that. They should have been with you guys in Silicon Valley or the States, but they'd rather choose to stay here. So I'm really privileged. I wasn't from this society at the beginning, right? I studied law, the faculty of law at Ain Shams. It should have been a lawyer or a DA or something. This very shitty world, okay? But I'm now privileged to be with these people, and I think persistence is the most important character that they have here.
And if you know, when you talk about industry-wise, right? So for instance, in Turkey, there's so many e-commerce startups, right? I mean, the e-commerce market is huge in Turkey. So what would you say Cairo industry-wise has a huge edge or competitive advantage.
Okay, you've brought a very relevant example like Turkey, right? It's a very big country, and I believe Egypt is as well, right? They're nearly as big as each other. But entrepreneurs here are much more focused on solving problems, solving local problems that could be scalable. A lot of them, I've mentioned Wazaf and the employability problem, like, okay? And they're now doing kind of digitizing the CVs for blue collars. I mentioned Baby Boon and the mother's problem with diapers, which is a very small thing, right? But they're doing impact. I'd mentioned Recyclobica, the startup that is doing e-waste recycling, and it's huge in Egypt. Like there are tons and tons of startups that are solving macro problems on the economic level.
Okay. So also in terms of time, I promised that I will keep this short, and I also promised that I would, keep it engaging. I actually want you guys to ask, do you have any questions for the speakers or audience? Something also you would like us to cover later, for instance, or any questions you might have for Abdelhameed or for me?
Yeah, I don't like so much public speaking that much, so I don't really enjoy it, so I'd love to have more questions and unveil whatever I have. So does anyone have a question for me or for any of the
Raise your
past
hand.
audience? Please, there's someone at
In the right in the back?
Yeah.
That's good.
We're getting a
let's
mic right now.
Let's wait for the mic. And meanwhile, I'm already going to ask you to think about number one startup lesson that you would like to share. So the one thing that you should, startups should do better. I'm going to ask you this in the end, so I'm going to give you some time to think about it.
Hi, my name is Nadine Mustafa, and I was just wondering how Rise Up Summit helps with the new entrepreneurs on the logistics of starting their company. In Egypt, we have a lot of, obstacles or hurdles with regards to legalities and the paperwork. And how do you actually lead people into being on the right track without any complications, let's say?
Okay, so the perception of Rise Up at the beginning, it's a platform for entrepreneurs and resources to connect, okay? The resources could be financial, could be knowledge, could be accelerators and incubators, could be the government, for instance, or any governmental program. It could be lawyers, it could be accountants and all this stuff. We found recently after 2 summits that it's very relevant that we're aggregating all this huge network, that we can funnel it into solving problems without competing with other ecosystem stakeholders, because we have to be independent, inclusive, and collaborative to live and to make this mission achievable. So what we're doing post the next Rise Up Summit, which is it's still in testing mode, is that we're probably trying to solve this problem through funneling all the resources that can help on the corporate governance level, the legal structure level, all the stuff, but we're not going to do the stuff by ourselves. We're going to use the ecosystem or the network itself in order to help make this happen. And we do a lot of, I'm not going to call it lobbying, but we talk a lot to the government, this government, the past one, all stuff, the relevant stakeholders in the government. I sit on the board of the Technology Innovation Entrepreneurship Center, which is TEEC, and now we've convinced them that entrepreneurship ecosystem enablers like TEEC should be catalysts, okay? The government should have the catalyst role. So this is one of the things we probably look at in the future.
And I think also to his credit, I think also international role, right? I mean, to bring people in. So it was partly you that got us here when we met in Vienna. We had the idea, we're very curious about Cairo and Egypt, what's going on there. And then after talking to you, we decided to come to Cairo and do the Startup Adventure Tour here. Yeah. So I think also the visibility outside, connecting to different ecosystem is a very important role.
It's very relevant. The story, if you guys are here, is very relevant to what's an ecosystem. So Ramaz Mohammed, the CEO of Flat6 Labs, introduced me to Mike over email because they met in Turkey, right? And then another startup festival that is called Pioneers Festival invited us, me and Gehad, to attend through other partners that we've met in El Guna, which is Romy Siegel, an Austrian entrepreneur who has a co-working camp in El Guna. And then another third entity, which is a German mentorship program called Impact, got us the visas. Okay, got me the visa. Gehad is German, so she can get in easily, but I got the visa through that. And all of this network that happened so that we meet you, and then we met and we talked there at the Pioneers, and then you guys are here, but after we came here, Mercy Corps decided to sponsor, Endeavor is helping with the network, Injaz promoted, 138 pyramids promoted, the Greek campus is so helping, and I don't think I'm the reason. It's the ecosystem itself that is the reason.
Yeah. Are there any more questions? I want to cut it short, but maybe
I think we have time for one question.
One
so
more, yeah.
can we have a hand of someone who wants to ask something to Abdelhameed and Mike? Anyone? A comment? There you
Yeah.
go.
Amir?
Gentleman in the front.
So this is not a question, this is like a comment. I didn't know Abdelhameed at all before the first Rise Up. I was told from Khan we'll have such an event, and I really felt the need for having such a gathering, because we always had to travel to ArabNet in Beirut, to Dubai, to other places to meet other people. There wasn't this event locally. It's like the good thing about Rise Up is that you're like connecting all the ecosystem. There's no ego part in it, like others have been doing. So it's really easy for all the community to participate, like even without knowing Abdelhameed. Like in the first year, we really helped and tried to help in marketing, and even the second year. And I personally got like, our startup got like radio coverage and TV coverage in both years after the event. Like this is like the benefits we get as entrepreneurs. And like for those who would like to give back, like this second year was a huge opportunity for us, for me personally, to give back through sessions and so. So I think it's an amazing like endeavor to have Rise Up, and I just wanted to thank Abdelhameed. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
I
you very
need
much,
to-
Amin. Can I comment on something here? Yeah, one of the most important things that we do at Rise Up is that we totally rely on startups in every single operation. Okay, so the newsletters that are out, we rely on Wazzaf's network and other networks. The events management system is Eventus. The cars coming in are from Pyride or Uber or whatsoever, startups that are in this field. The designs are by a startup. So it's very important that you gather all this grassroots movement of startups to help you. And it gets you a lot of free stuff, right? And high quality one.
Okay. I asked you to give one startup lesson to wrap it up. I'm going to start really quick for our early stage, which I see going wrong over and over and over again. And I'm going to keep it very short because I know Max wants me off the stage. And that is do proper validation. So if I would have to give one advice to early stage startups, that is go out to your customers, even if before you have a product, to just validate whether the problem you're trying to solve is worthwhile solving, and ask the right questions. So there's a great book written from Rob Fitzpatrick that I recommend all of you guys to read, which is called The Mom Test. And the main thing of the book is if you ask your mother if your startup or your idea is great, she will most likely tell you, yes, amazing, right? So this is not validation. So one advice I would give all of you is go out to the customer, ask the right questions. So ask them how much money they currently spent on this problem, what they've done in the past of this problem, this kind of question. That would be my one advice. How about yours?
Focus, okay? Stop 10 things and just do one thing and do it consistently. I get it a lot from Steve, from Khan, from everyone. Probably I'm dyslexic or stuff like that, but I'm learning it. And I think I'm saying a lot of no's in the past time. Okay, I want to do this, but no, I'm not going to do it. This is for someone else. And you keep doing the same thing until it's really done, right? Until the value is created, and then you can jump to another thing. So, for example, I've got a lot of, I don't know, not a lot, a few offers and stuff like that, or opportunities that are out of my scope, but I say like, I'm just gonna do Rise Up until its mission is fulfilled. So probably this is the most important thing I've learned from all of the mentors surrounding me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.